and welcome to the latest and greatest episode of the Lobot Podcast. I'm Tyler.
I'm Josh.
And we are live at the Thunderdome.
Yes, I forgot that's what it was called.
Yeah. I'm sticking with it until I find something better, but I can't think of anything better.
Oh, you're not sold on it?
I'm not sold on it, but I used the best 3 names at the other place already.
Oh, that's true. You gave it 3 names.
Because in my head, I'll give it 3 names. Not thinking we'd ever leave.
Like we'd never leave.
Yeah.
I was broke then.
I know.
Literally just due to the rent.
Due to the rent.
Yeah. It's
But
freaking insane.
I didn't even think, it didn't even cross my mind that if you moved, I'd have to think of a new name because we'd been in a new location.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Can't put everything on you.
So, the Thunderdome.
Yeah. Well, how's the week treated you so far?
Busy. First proper work week at my new job.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited to get paid.
We all.
For my first proper paycheck from this job.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
One of the things I wanted to touch on this week on the pod is a lot of these Eastern teams, and the Pacers being one of them because they're like 17 and 22. Do I have here? Yeah, 17 and 22. Mm-hmm. That's 5 games below 500. They're atrocious right now.
They're really bad. And
a big reason is because they don't have a proper go-to scorer. I'm a big fan of Sabonis. I think Sabonis has been getting better every year.
Yeah.
He's become a much better passer, a reliable rebounder, a slightly better defender. Sorry, passer.
What a great linguini.
And a very efficient scorer. He's become very, very all-around, which is great to see. But he's never going to be a franchise go-to scorer. It's never going to be. He feels like a Pau Gasol in a way where he's a perfect complementary piece, like a Chris Middleton, perfect complementary piece to have next to your franchise scorer.
Yeah.
That's what Sabonis is to me, and that's not a knock on him. I think he's deserving of the All-Star. He's an absolute All-Star, and I don't think they should ever move off of him if he keeps playing this way. But the issue is, Oladipo obviously going down with injuries, and when he comes back, they get rid of him because of all the drama and him just not being as efficient as what he used to be. Mm-hmm. They needed a scorer. Karis LeVert was out. They got him from Brooklyn. He wasn't playing. He's now, I think, played a couple games.
Yeah, he's played 1
He's looking a little, it's rough now, but what we saw in Brooklyn was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. When Kyrie was out and Karis LeVert had to take the offensive load, he's buckets, man, straight buckets. And it feels like that's the silver lining throughout this whole ordeal with Indiana. You may not make the playoffs this year, which I'll talk about because there's so much going on in the East.
But you've got an upside.
You've got Sabonis getting better and better, and you've got now Karis LeVert coming back from the injury. It seems to be easing into it, not forcing stuff like Oladipo did when he first came back. But I'm confident in LeVert is one of my favorite players in the league, and I think him being the focal point on just scoring allows Sabonis to... It doesn't take anything away from Sabonis is the best way to put it, because they need that, because they have been successful when Oladipo, before he got injured. And the other weird thing about it, because the reason I segued into it was defense being an overlooked thing. No one has any stock in Miles Turner at this point. He's averaging 13 points per game and 6 rebounds. At this point, we were anticipating 18, 19 points, 10 rebounds a game.
More. Yeah.
13 points and 6 rebounds a game is not where we wanted to see it, especially when Oladipo's been out, Karis LeVert.
Isn't he the blocks leader for this season, though?
That's what I want to touch on.
Yeah.
3.4 blocks per game.
It's incredible.
That's insane. The next number 2 spot for blocks per game is Gobert at 2.8.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
It's a big difference.
And I think... Like Ariza, that's an overlooked thing. Even myself, I overlooked Miles Turner this year because I still do think he should be upping more numbers with no other offensive person on the court. Because I know Brogdon's fine and TJ McConnell being defense frees up some effort on the defensive end for him. But it's insane. 3.4 blocks.
Towards the start of the season, just before All-Star, I think Rudy was more like 2.1 average.
Yep.
So he was nearly doubling him.
Yep.
And I think Miles Turner had nearly averaging 4.
Yep.
Right? It's
insane.
Huge.
Insane what Miles Turner is doing. And I feel bad that I haven't spoken about it because I've always loved these defensive guys.
We've had a lot to talk about these past couple of weeks.
Well, not even just on the pod. It's just been in general, I feel like I've overlooked Miles Turner and I've done Indiana a bit of a disservice. And maybe it is because they're so bad right now. Honestly, they are. They're below the Chicago.
They're bad.
And Chicago are playing... this is the best season they've played in a while.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't be below Chicago.
No.
even without Oladipo or that.
Chicago's a one-man team.
Yes, it very much is.
Very much one-man team.
But I just wanted to touch on that because that's something I've overlooked throughout the year, and I've always praised myself on supporting these defensive-minded players, and that's exactly what Miles Turner is. Yeah. It's what he always will be. He's never going to be an 18 points per game person. He's never going to be a 10 rebound person, unfortunately, for whatever reason.
Yeah, it seems like he's looking towards like 15 and 8 with like 3 blocks.
Yeah, I'd say 15,
Ideally.
5, 6,
and that's
3
still
blocks.
A great career path.
3, like I can't put into words how crazy over 3 blocks, 3.5 blocks per game. Mm-hmm. Like that is prime, like so many defensive superstars back in the day, which were known for blocking people. That is up there with them. And I'm not saying he's as good as them, but that number is just insane.
That number's really good. Yeah. I want to touch on the Eastern Conference because the Eastern Conference is so weird right now. If you said to me at the start of the season, Hornets would be above Boston.
Let's go through it because I think each of these spots is surprising.
So let's go. We'll start at number 1 and let's have a comment or two about each one of those.
I've got a lot. So
I know you've got a lot. You've always got a lot, but we got a time limit here, my man.
We've only been talking for 20 minutes or so. We're all right.
In a 40-minute podcast.
So Philly being the number 1 seed.
Yeah. That well-deserved. Joel Embiid is at an MVP season.
I think that in its own right is a surprise. Joel Embiid's been a very good surprise this year. Tobias Harris has been he's averaging 20 points per game finally throughout his career, which is really good.
Ben stepped it up as well. And the team's been built properly around.
Yes, they've got shooters.
Yeah.
And which is phenomenal. This is what you need when you have to run Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid on the court at the same time. You need shooters.
I think they're going to drop a bit with JoJo's injury.
Yes, but it feels like Tobias Harris is stepping up. And we've seen history shows that when Embiid's out and Simmons is in, Simmons tears up.
He does, yeah. If one of those two is out, the other one tears the floor.
Yes, yeah. So I'm feeling confident that they will be the 1 to 2 by the end of the season. It's hard to see Brooklyn also being a damn surprise. They're tied for the first seed.
I think they're going to take the first seed while Joel Embiid's out.
I think their offense is too good. Now because
they're going to get KD back soon. So Kyrie will jump back in the lineup.
To wrap up Brooklyn, when they first acquired James Harden, they were atrocious. They had the worst defense in the league, judging by the eye test, and they were struggling to win games because of their defense. Their offense was never the problem; it was their defense. But now everything's starting to click, and their offense now outweighs their negative on defense.
Their defense went from like bottom 5 in the league to bottom 8.
Yep.
And their offense went from like probably 12th to first by a country mile.
Their offense is insane. And we spoke about this off the pod. I think we're on Discord, and we're speaking about Brooklyn. And you have to understand that this is an all-time offense we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
And KD's not even in now.
He's played like 20 games.
Yeah. Like when KD comes back, how do you stop this team on defense?
Especially with Joe Harris shooting 47%.
I think it's 47% from 3.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And like he's going to continue doing that. Because
no one's looking at him because you have to guard the other 3 so closely.
Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
On the 3-point line with Joe Harris. Mm-hmm. Insane.
Yep.
So that's been another surprise. The first 2 seeds already a surprise. Usually you anticipate what the first 2 seeds are going to be.
But again, start of the season, we didn't think it would be those 2.
No, I didn't. Not Brooklyn. Milwaukee at the 3rd spot.
76ers maybe top 3.
I had them in top 4.
And Brooklyn I remember saying to you and Adam before the season started, I guarantee Brooklyn will make the playoffs, regardless of the shit show, if it's a shit show, because KD's too good.
Yep.
And you guys were like, oh, I don't know. And now it's like they got James Harden and they're like number 1 and number 2.
I feel like we had this discussion. I feel like we agreed that KD's too good to miss the playoffs. Maybe. Like if he was playing,
I said they would be like 8th. You know what I mean? Assume it's a shit show. I said like 7th or 8th.
I would have had 7th or 8th, assuming KD was healthy. No, Kyrie.
And it's incredible.
Yeah. But no one also anticipated James Harden going to Brooklyn.
no one could have seen that. Absolutely no one could have
anyone that says, I anticipated that, I call bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit.
This one came out of left field
like crazy.
This
is a 2K trade.
Yes, that's exactly what that was.
It worked.
Yeah. Milwaukee in the 3rd spot. The past 2 seasons, they've been one of the most dominant regular season teams. To see them now in the 3rd spot, despite having the best team they've had is really weird to see.
I.
This is the best defensive team and the best offensive team they've had.
It's true. They're not the best defensive team in the league right
No,
now.
but it's the best defense.
Yeah, this is their
players,
overall
player-wise.
best. This is the best they've played.
Yep.
And
They're
it's
the
just
third
it feels
seed.
like they're not going as hard as they did the past two seasons.
No, I don't think they need to.
They
I think
shouldn't.
that's fine. Regarding Milwaukee, I don't think there's too much to look into. I've heard people talk about how they're not the 1 seed anymore. You know, maybe they're coming back down, and Giannis's, crazy couple regular season years for MVP are behind him. Giannis is still playing at a phenomenal level, and they've got all these players around him and shooters around him. They don't need to shoot for that first seed anymore. It's like Golden State. They don't need to break records anymore.
I remember saying last year that it doesn't matter what Milwaukee do in the regular season. The playoffs are the only thing that matters. And it's the same thing this season.
Yes. Yep.
They've proved it. When you're like top 3, it doesn't really matter. You don't need the 1 seed.
The one thing about Milwaukee is, like I said, all eyes are on them. They need to prove something in the playoffs. This is the year to do it.
Yeah.
They've just bounced again and again and again. And with the team they've got now, I don't care who they're going. If they're going against Philly or Brooklyn, they can still win that series.
Yeah, absolutely.
That team is that
It's
good.
a bloodbath. That top 3 is a bloodbath.
Yeah, it's brutal. Usually with these East teams, there's a clear favorite. And out
Usually
of
with
these...
the East, it's like there's a top 4, and then there's a bottom 4, and there's a huge jump.
Well, there is a top 4. Like, Miami's at the 4th spot.
Oh, yeah.
And Miami is
want to talk
still
about
damn
Miami a
good.
bit. So
Yes.
we'll talk about Miami. Miami at number 4.
Yep.
Miami at the start of the season were a shell of themselves.
Yes.
Because they didn't have Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
Jimmy Butler has come back in, and they are reinvigorated. They're 9-1 out of their past 10.
Yep.
That is incredible.
It's insane.
That team is nothing without Jimmy Butler. It's just so much he does for that team. Offense, defense, off the court, being a captain, being a leader.
He's up there with the Chris Pauls of the world.
Yeah.
That, like, he's one of the absolute best leaders in the right fit. Just
100%.
like every leader, you can't put him in the wrong situation and expect them to lead. Miami is a perfect fit for Jimmy Butler. We've done a whole episode, I feel like, on Miami.
Yeah.
Probably. But Jimmy Butler coming back is big. Like you said, 9-1. They are right now only 3 games above 500, but that is only due to the fact that Jimmy was out at the start of the year.
Again, they won 9 out of the last 10.
Yep. When you compare that to Utah, who have gone 5-6 in their last 11, and everyone was saying
they started
top team in the league
hot.
right now.
Yeah.
I think they're coming back down to earth. But Miami are going to be a problem. That is the clear top 4. I want to put Miami in there. They made it to the finals last year.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to hear people say that it was a fluke or whatever.
No, watch them play right now. You know what I mean?
Miami is just team basketball, man.
Yeah, it is.
At its finest, and I love it because having someone like Jimmy Butler that can get 10 points in a night and you can still feel like he's the reason they won is insane.
We said that. Like, he can average 10 points. Like, wow, he's a superstar.
Yep.
He's right now, he's averaging like 22.
Yep.
Fucking good. He's so good.
He's so good.
So good.
And I love it. It's one of those things where I want to know how Chicago felt moving off of Jimmy Butler initially and whatnot, because that was when he was great.
He was
with
still
them.
very, very good.
Yeah.
Because they had Rondo, D-Wade, and Jimmy Butler at one point.
Yep.
There's obviously the other two are way past their prime.
Yes, yeah.
But they still tried to make a run.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler was still putting in work. Like, this isn't new.
Yeah,
this is the
This
first...
is the perfect fit.
I feel like after Minnesota, teams were really like, okay, no, he can actually lead a team to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because Minnesota felt like the guinea pig team.
He
It's like
dragged them.
Yeah, like how good is Jimmy Butler?
Yeah.
And bringing the Timberwolves to the playoffs, they have 10 wins this season.
Yeah.
And that's about like every season for them. Being able to drag them to the playoffs.
Before we finish, I'm gonna rant about the Minnesota.
Yeah. All right, I'll happily rant about Minnesota.
Okay. Hit me with number 5.
Atlanta Hawks.
The
One game above
Atlanta
500.
Hawks.
I spoke about Atlanta end of last season.
You want to talk about a rough, like, this is them this season. It was up, down, off a cliff, and now they've come back up.
Yep. And it sucks because I didn't want to see Lloyd Pierce get fired. Neither did you. And it seems like ever since Lloyd Pierce got fired, they're now back above 500.
Maybe it was the right choice. Maybe it was not the right choice to lead that team.
You know, obviously we're not basketball president. We're not a GM, you know. But I felt like Lloyd Pierce was the right decision. Maybe not. You know,
maybe
who knows?
not. Maybe we were wrong about this. Maybe the general public was wrong.
And I'll be honest about it. But the Hawks are now back at 500. They're at the 5th seed. When I spoke about Atlanta end of last season, was like, I can see them most making 8th seed.
Right.
At the most.
7th or 8th.
And that's off of like an insane season by Trae Young.
Yeah.
And really good backup play by Capella and John
If they
Collins.
can do well in the off-season, which they did. They did great. They had a
A
great
plus,
off-season.
A plus for their off-season acquisitions.
Picked up Gallo, picked up Bojan.
Yep. They did really, I think it was Bogdan they got. Bojan's for Utah, I believe.
I always get confused on the first name of him. Yeah, Bogdan.
Phenomenal. And, you know, granted, so I'm going to go through 6, 7, and 8 right now. It's so close, so they could drop.
Yeah.
But the fact that this deep in the playoffs, number 6, Charlotte Hornets.
The Charlotte Hornets,
at
baby.
500.
Who would have thought?
I was thinking...
In the last season...
So I've got a lot.
There's
There's got some stuff I want to say about Charlotte.
Yeah.
It's good and bad. You know, obviously it's exciting to see them in the playoffs again. Last time was when Kemba was at his highest.
Yeah.
And then they got swept, I believe.
Yeah.
But Charlotte at the 6th seed at 500, which is really, really exciting to see this late. They've played 40 games. There's only 32 games left, I believe.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance that they actually can be in the playoffs. LaMelo Ball has been fantastic.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a rookie control the pace of a game like this in a very long time. So he's absolutely worthy of the pick they took him at. PJ Washington's been on a bit of a down year.
Yeah.
But he's still a good player.
Yeah.
Terry Rozier is one of the most efficient 20 points per game players in the league.
He had a slower career path. He had a big jump when he had that really good playoff
In Boston.
Yeah. But then he sort of fell back to earth and he's still climbing. He's one of those guys he's going to take, like Lonzo is, and like Ingram, he took a little bit longer to reach like his stardom and his potential, but he's gotten there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
His fourth quarter heroics for the season so far, incredible.
Oh,
He's
absolutely.
shooting amazingly in the fourth quarter.
Rozier deserves a lot of praise and credit this year.
I shit-talked him, and I made fun of Charlotte for that contract, and there is egg on my face because he's
I don't think
not just yet.
Not just yet, because I there's something else I want to say. Like the Hayward acquisition has worked out for them as well. He got injured. It was a slow comeback after that injury as well, but the past couple games has done pretty good, finally in double digits again. A lot of these players are playing great. Like even Devontae Graham's taken a bit of a regress this season, but he's still a solid player.
He was the second guard in Hornets in Charlotte last season. Now LaMelo has taken that spot, and Terry Rozier is like, so he's been forced to take a back seat. So of course his progression's gonna dip a bit,
which is fine. The thing about Hornets, because last year's pod I was talking about this Gordon Hayward acquisition. I didn't like it. Didn't make sense to me, and you didn't like the Terry Rozier acquisition. Didn't make sense to you. And I feel like they're justified, even despite the fact that Rozier's worked out and Gordon Hayward's worked out.
There were still legitimate concerns.
So Kemba Walker was at his peak with Charlotte. They made the playoffs one time, which was really exciting to see. But boy, they surrounded him with big contracts, which made no sense.
Yeah.
Bismack Biyombo is still on the team, making money. That's wild to me. Nicholas Batum, they only just moved off of.
Tony Parker.
Like, a lot of... I think it's easy to say, oh, no, these deals are actually good. But you look at the track history for Charlotte, and, these could very easily flip 180 and go bad.
They're not great deals, but they've worked out.
They've worked out, and that's what matters. That's what matters.
Yeah,
it's just... This is why when you hear people question these moves, it's because of Batum and Biyombo and Tony Parker.
Absolutely.
It's... And Hornets, I'm happy to see them there. Keep an eye on them. I think LaMelo and Terry Rozier are going to be the reason they make the playoffs. I think that's very easily said.
I think Gordon Hayward, honestly, he's played so well. He's getting back to how he was in Utah. I don't think he won't ever be an all-star again, but he's playing so well-rounded. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, that's what he was doing last year in Boston.
Yeah.
It was so well-rounded, and I almost feel like they shouldn't have let him go. I feel like
he got offered big money, though.
I know. And I can't remember if it was restricted or not. Oh, it doesn't matter. He's taking that money.
Yeah, he's taking that money.
I think that's more than any team was willing to offer him.
Yeah.
But it was... I could tell that Gordon Hayward was still a good piece.
Yeah.
Offensively, he was so well-rounded. And it's what I feel Boston are kind of missing right now, which I'll get to. The number seventh seed is New York Knicks. They're at 500 as well, 21-21.
We talked about them a bunch earlier. We don't need to go too much into them, but yeah.
But well earned. Very exciting to see the Knicks in the playoffs since the Melo days.
Yeah.
Probably the most surprising one in my opinion.
Number 8.
Boston Celtics.
The Boston Celtics. They had a rough start.
rough start. They're still rough.
They're still looking rough.
They're on a 2-game losing streak currently. 20-20.
That's 2 games. Yeah,
So have you watched much Boston the past month?
Not much.
I have, because I was like, what is this shit show? Because whenever we talk about Boston, it's how the heck did they not have any down years? Mm-hmm. How is this team so damn good? Didn't they make the Eastern Conference Finals at one point when Kyrie was out, or like one game away from it?
Yeah, they took Cleveland to like a 5 or 6 game series.
Yes,
That was the 2018 where LeBron just went God mode.
Yeah. It's wild to me that they're at the 8th seed. I had them in my top 4, and they're at the 8th. May not make the playoffs if they keep playing like this.
I think they'll pick it up.
Logic tells me
they'll pick it up. Who the fuck else is going to make the 8?
Because you look at, and this is going to be, God, the East is so exciting to talk about right now. They've got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
2 of the best two-way wings in the game. Absolute buckets. Absolute all-stars. Kemba Walker's been more productive this year. He's not the Kemba Walker of Charlotte, but he's more productive than last year.
Yeah.
And all these other guys are still producing well. What's going on?
I don't know. I haven't been watching
because it looks like
Boston this season.
From what I've watched in the past 2 weeks, I've watched a few Boston games from start to finish, and it just looks so disconjointed. It feels like we have a lot of players chucking up shots. It doesn't look like the usual Brad Stevens offense we're used to seeing. Their defense is still fine from what I can tell. I'm not a defensive connoisseur, but offensively it doesn't look like what it used to be. And I don't know what it is. Obviously, there's something internal going on. I can't speak for Boston. I'm not in their locker room, but it's not as fluid as it used to be. We praise Jason Tatum on being one of the most polished offensive scorers at this age. Jaylen Brown is at that level as well, and
playing amazingly. He's gotten better every year.
Yep, absolutely. And it's shocking to see them at the 8th seed, and God. They
have to pick it up.
2 games ahead of Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's just Zach Levine.
That's just Zach Levine.
And
Thomas Satoransky.
Yeah, sure, Satoransky. Like, Chicago have been a surprise in their own right.
Yeah.
I think. Not as much as Brooklyn being as bad as they are right now. Boston, sorry, my mistake. But Zach Levine deserves praise this year.
Yeah.
Him and Julius Randle were very deserving of all-star spots this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Zach Levine has been efficient this year.
Every year.
You can't give him shit anymore. I mean, not you. I'm just like in general. I can't either. Like, he's been so good offensively. His offensive skill set it feels like this is what Zach Levine is at his peak.
A complete offensive player.
Yes.
In terms of putting the ball in the bucket.
Yeah. He's a straight bucket.
Yeah.
And that's all you need from Zach. That's all he is. That's all he's going to be. And that's absolutely fine.
That.
Yes.
Like, Indiana would adore that right now.
That's what they need. That's what we're hoping Karis LeVert is going to be.
I mean, he's not going to be that.
I think Zach Levine's body and athleticism
helps him so much.
Immense.
A quick first. Like, Karis LeVert doesn't have Levine's first step.
No, doesn't.
But, not many players do.
No, that's why the fact that Zach Levine now has become such a polished shooter in more ways than just a spot-up shooter is insane. And he is single-handedly the reason why they're 3 games behind 500. They're at the 9th seed.
If he can become a neutral defender or even a good defender, that propels him to elite status. Like, the way Tatum is a neutral or good he's a good defender.
Tatum, great defender.
Tatum's a good defender. If Zach Levine right now is a bad defender,
yes,
right, I'd say he's minus.
Yeah.
But he's only minus by like 1 or 2. If he can get to 0 or even get to a +1 on the defensive end, it just propels him.
Zach Levine is the embodiment of the Brooklyn Nets. His offense is so good that it outweighs his negatives on defense. Yeah. And it feels like the team's responsibility to make up for that. Mm-hmm. And that's absolutely fine. You can't expect every player in the league to come through as a Kawhi Leonard. That's not fair. Yeah. There are just going to be some players which are offensively gifted, and that's fine. Chicago need to continue to build around Zach Levine, assuming he's there for the long run, and actually build defensive players around him to continue to take the load off, but not be such a negative on defense. Exactly. But they do need some other options on offense.
Because they don't really have anything right now.
They don't.
We won't stick on Chicago too much longer, but I
That's
just
it.
want to say that this will be like the first year in 2 years we don't have Orlando Magic scraping in at the 8th.
Right? Yeah, they're no longer there. They're actually bottom.
Yeah,
Which is
they're awful.
about right. And it's weird to see Vucevic still at that all-star level.
Because he's just
He's so good. He's one of the best centers in the league.
very good.
But man, Orlando. And it sucks just touching on this as Jonathan Isaac is out.
Yeah,
You know,
that was a
and
big
he's one of the best defensive players in the league as well. And I
Yeah.
think he does make a difference, but that's unfortunate. At the 10th seed is the Pacers. We spoke about them.
Yeah.
You know, Karis LeVert may be able to propel them, but I don't see them making the playoffs this year
No.
with every other team being so damn hungry for it. The 11th seed, and this isn't a surprise, Toronto Raptors at the 11th seed. They're
Yeah.
17 and 23.
They've dropped off the face of the earth.
And the reason I say I'm not surprised, they're still a phenomenal team, I think. They're, in terms of team basketball, they're great.
You can't say they're phenomenal.
No, they are. Most of this season, their players have been out due to COVID protocols. That is their star players have barely played because of that. No team in the league, and you can look up the stats, has been effed over more.
They've been ripped apart by
Yeah,
COVID.
and that's not the league's fault. That's not anyone. That's just the way it is.
is
You know,
what it
it
is.
happens. We've got to be careful this year. But they really got screwed over by chance. They're absolutely deserving of a playoff spot. They're not. You know, they'll get bounced first round. I don't see them getting any further.
They're not making the playoffs this season.
No, not this
'Cause
season. No.
They're moving off Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, at this point, the way this season's gone, that it makes sense too.
Yeah.
But that's why that's not a surprise.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the bracket saying, wow, Raptors at the 11th seed now. And it kind of sucks to see because it makes like the team built around Kawhi Leonard seem like a shitty team.
Yeah.
Like, no, that team's still there for the most part.
I mean,
It's just
they did lose Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka.
Yeah.
That's two big hits. to your two
Serge
big
Ibaka
men.
being the main one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But, you know, these protocols, meaning they can't play for a week or two again and again and again,
Yeah.
that's rough. And that's why they're so bottom, because we don't see Kyle Lowry all that often. We haven't seen Pascal Siakam. And I know Pascal's, I don't think is a good first option, but he's still a great player.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's your go-to scorer is now off the court, and Fred VanVleet now off the court, you know, what else are you going to do? You can't run it through everyone. So that's disappointing.
That's the Eastern Conference.
Can I talk about one other team?
What team?
What are the Washington Wizards? What are they?
I'm going to rant about them in a little bit as well.
Yes? All right, let's tee up some time to talk about the Wizards before we leave this
I
pod.
just want a quick sentence or two about the current MVP race.
Yep.
Because it was looking like a three-man show between Bron, Joel Embiid, and Jokic, right?
For the most part.
Bron started shooting like shit these past 10 games.
But we've
shooting
got,
like 20%.
that's fine. We've got the number one defense in the league without
know.
Anthony Davis.
I
Without Anthony
know,
Davis.
but that's as a team.
Yeah, that's...
We're talking about MVP, not a team.
Yeah, I know, but like that, he is, for
I
whatever
know he's
reason,
anchoring that defense.
which is weird to see because LeBron generally doesn't play
Right.
defense in the
But
regular
that
season.
hurts his MVP race, right? So then it's just Jokic out of those original three.
I've still got Damian Lillard above Jokic.
You still got Damon
Yes.
above Jokic. I
Yes.
guess like with that 50-point game,
Bro, he is single-hand... And McCollum's back and he's still at this level.
he is.
Like, you can't stop this team offensively
So
if they're
would
going
you
to be at that
say
level.
Dame is your MVP frontrunner so far?
It was Joel Embiid before he got
but-
injured.
Yeah, but right now.
Right now, it would be Damian Lillard.
Okay.
I just think-
That's all I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, I think if Denver start, not even like you guys are a great team still. Like you guys were off to a rough start. I think you guys have finally starting to hit that stride. You've got to keep it up because the West is so close as well.
Yeah.
But I think if you guys can get ahead of Portland, I think that's really all it is. If you guys can get ahead of Portland,
Standings.
yeah, I think that's deserving. So because Jamal Murray isn't going to be this 25 points per game player
Not right now.
not
Maybe
right now,
in a
no.
couple years.
So it is really just Jokic.
Yeah.
So if you guys are winning, it's because Jokic is winning.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Portland. You know, Portland aren't winning if Dame ain't, having Dame time every time.
We'll see. It feels like LeBron could still get it. He's always a chance.
Yes.
Jojo could still get it if he comes back soon, but the hyperextension of the knee is kind of worrying. You don't want to
hope
rush
so.
him back. You'd rather have him ready for the playoffs and not rush him for an MVP. So it really now feels like Dame, Bron, or Jokic.
Yes, with Embiid out, that's what I would say. I'm
Yeah.
pretty comfortable with that.
We'll check in with the MVP race like every 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to talk about because it's so close.
Yeah.
Usually there's just a clear front runner. Like one
These
year it was
past 2
James
years
Harden.
was Giannis,
One
and
year
then-
it was Giannis.
Yeah,
There's
Westbrook.
been years with Westbrook, years with Steph. Clear
Yeah.
front runners. This one, it could go either way, and that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So my little rants about Minnesota and Washington.
Start with Minnesota.
So I opened a sports bet account this week.
Oh,
week,
yes.
recently.
Yeah.
I chucked in like $5 because I'm not a betting man, and I'm still waiting on my first paycheck from work.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll just chuck $5 on.
Yeah.
I bet on. I did a 3-leg multi. It was the Brooklyn Indiana game.
Yep.
So if Brooklyn win, if Harden gets 7 assists and like 15 points,
Yep.
my $5 turned into like 10.
Yep.
Right? All that happened. I cashed out my $5. I'm playing with house money.
Doubled your money, got house money,
No, I
baby.
put in 10 and I got like 20 back.
Oh, okay.
Right? It was something like that. And then I like, okay, what games are coming up? I'm going to chuck $5 on each game. I'm like, Utah and Washington. So, okay, Utah have been pretty good this whole season. They're on a bit of a weird thing now, but they're up against Washington. I think they'll be fine. They got the worst defense. So I was like, Utah to win. Gobert to get 7 rebounds and Mitchell to get 15 points.
Pretty safe.
Didn't happen.
Pretty safe bet.
So not only did Utah lose to Washington, I don't think Gobert got 7 rebounds.
No, I don't think he did.
That broke my heart.
I'll have to check.
And then it was Phoenix versus Minnesota.
An even easier game.
An even easier game for the top of the West Phoenix
Second
Suns.
seed Phoenix Suns.
It was Devin Booker to get 15 points and 7 assists from Chris Paul and Suns to win.
I keep in mind Minnesota had 9 wins at this time in the season.
9 wins. Didn't happen. I lost
Wild.
10 of my sports bet dollars. I got $3 left on the account.
Your hard-earned dollars.
Right? Gone. My
them.
dollar is gone.
Yep.
And I'm so furious that the one time Anthony Edwards goes for 42 points.
Yep.
It's the one time I have a fucking bet on.
Anthony Edwards has been balling out the past couple of weeks.
He's
been insane.
People were like, oh, why was he the #1 pick? He's not that good. No, he is.
He's good.
His talent is there. His body is NBA
absolutely.
ready. He needs to figure that out.
Yes.
Right? A lot of it's mental for him.
It seems like he is.
Yeah.
Like, he's phenomenal. If he
more.
keeps playing like this, he's up there with LaMelo for who's Rookie of the Year.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I don't think it's even fucking close.
I've been watching a lot of Minnesota. Minnesota have been playing against teams that I like watching, so I've just watched a lot of Minnesota lately. Anthony Edwards.
He's good, but
No,
LaMelo is...
He's really good.
We'll see.
He
Might hit it.
I've
I
been
think
looking at unbiased stuff with Anthony Edwards. I'm not a fan. I don't like his attitude. And that's just me as an old head. I like the more humble guys.
You say that every week. You're not an old head.
I'm an old head.
No.
I am an old head.
No.
If I could get Power Gasol back, I would. Give me
mean
Power.
an old head?
I don't like these cocky youngings coming into the league. Mm-hmm. And that's what Anthony Edwards is.
Yeah.
Very clearly is very cocky about everything he does. And that rubs me the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, this last month, he has been phenomenal. This is why he's picked where he was.
#1 pick.
And that's like, if he keeps this up, LaMelo can't do what he does. And LaMelo is phenomenal. I know they're phenomenal in their own right. It's weird to compare the two.
Yeah.
But it feels like Anthony Edwards at some point, it feels like his ceiling's already higher than Andrew Wiggins was. And Andrew Wiggins, when he came into the league, this is my opinion anyway, came into the league as he's going to be a superstar wing. Anthony Edwards has shown more tools at his disposal already, shown willingness to play through contact a lot better than Wiggins was. Yeah. Wiggins came into the league for whatever reason wanting to be a spot-up shooter. Yeah. He's not that. He's super athletic.
Anthony Edwards takes contact really, really well.
Yes, he's phenomenal, and he's confident. Sometimes some say overconfident, but he's fun to watch, and he could be a reason that this team maybe gets on the right track. Yeah. Because Anthony Edwards, I think, has an attitude where it's, I don't give a shit, I want to win. Not in a way that's aggressive or frightening. It's a way where it's not a Jimmy Butler. It's just like, I'm here to win. I'm just going to score 40 points. I'm going to win. And Cat doesn't have that. I love Rubio. Rubio doesn't have that. No. No player on this team has had that.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe that's what it is. I'm not saying he's going to lead them to the playoffs, but he's the reason the team can win. And that's the exciting thing about Anthony Edwards. And I have to give him some praise as me not being even too high on him initially. That's why he's the pick.
I'm glad he's showing why he was very good. Because a lot of people still shit on DeAndre Ayton because he was taken #1. right?
DeAndre
Over,
Ayton's fine.
Luka and Trey and stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, DeAndre Ayton's great.
Yes.
And he's still getting better.
Could you...
He's, like, not a late bloomer, but like, Luka Doncic, he was already so versatile and well-rounded when he came in. Ayton could get to that MVP level. It's just going to take him longer.
Yeah. I think with Ayton, it's interesting to discuss in regards to the Phoenix squad. It's weird. It'd be weird, in my opinion, drafting certain players like Luka and popping in with Devin Booker. I think that's a bit weird. I think it's one of those...
hindsight, yeah.
Well, I think it made sense to get a potentially all-star center and pair it with Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense to me, with Booker at the time playing a facilitating role.
Yeah, no.
Whereas
he was the main part.
Yeah, and he was good at it, averaging like 7 to 8 assists per game. That's phenomenal
he's an
for who he was and how young he was. He's 24.
Yeah.
He's young. And it makes sense to sometimes draft for the team, and it's not like they took a hit in terms of talent. DeAndre Ayton's still a very talented player. I don't think it was wrong to take him where they took him.
No, absolutely not.
Hindsight's always going to be one of those stupid arguments that people act like they know everything. But that's a fine pick.
Exactly.
I'm absolutely okay with
I'll
it.
back that.
But the last thing we want to touch on, because I was thinking about this last night and I couldn't get my head around it.
Yeah.
What are the Washington Wizards? What is the wizardry that I'm seeing? This bullshittery of stuff that doesn't make sense. What are the Washington Wizards? Tell me.
That is Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal.
Oh, that's
as the horses on the carriage.
That's it. Now, we look at these teams in the East, okay? Yeah. We look at Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Like, that team is not performing as well as they should with just those two. Bradley Beal, 32.5 points per game so far this year. Over 40 games in. 32.5 points per game. Russell Westbrook has been great this season.
He's looking like a leader.
Yes. Like, especially this past week, he's had like 30-point triple-doubles. And not soft 10 and 10. Like 14 and 15.
Yeah.
Like, he is insane, phenomenal leader. He takes Rui Hachimura to the sideline, teaches him.
Clip.
Love it. Like, he's a phenomenal leader, one of the best leaders we have in the league. It's just a shame he's not one of the most efficient. But when he's playing as well he is, especially this year, he's still an all-star talent. An absolute bona fide all-star. And pair him with one of the best scorers in the league, in Bradley Beal, season after season after season. This is the best Bradley Beal is ever going to be.
This is his peak.
How are they this bad? The past however many years they've had the top offense and they've had the bottom defense, okay? That makes sense. Top offense, bottom defense, okay? You'd assume offense being the leading factor to wins around 500.
Yeah.
You would assume, give or take 5 games, something like that.
You end a 30 and a 1, you end up at 15.
How are they bottom barrel? How?
No, but they started off awful, couldn't win a game.
Yeah.
Then they went on a huge win streak.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
It was like 10
pretty
games or 15 games. Like it was like, again, they couldn't win a game. They win too many. Now they're ending up in the middle.
When Westbrook first went to Washington, it was they're making the playoffs in the East. They should. You can't tell me Westbrook.
Sorry, start of the season.
Yes.
Before everything else happened. Yes,
playoff bound.
It looked like they were going to make the playoffs.
Yes, because Bradley Beal is Bradley Beal. 32 points per game. No player other than Bradley Beal is averaging 30 points per game this season.
No.
None. He's 2.5 points above that. That's insane. Bradley Beal, you're insane. But you're kind of not because your team sucks. Russell Westbrook's insane, but you're kind of not because his team sucks. Yeah. You put both these guys together. Usually it's the Westbrook argument is Westbrook's having a great year, but this person isn't. That's why they're not winning. He's the leading scorer. He's the leading scorer. Bradley Beal is the leading scorer. I can say that from the hilltop. It's insane because he does this year after year after year since John Wall went down. And that's been a long time. And they don't have him anymore. But it doesn't amount to anything. And I'm like, is this just good stats, bad team? We throw this around, okay?
Yeah.
But then they've also got Westbrook. And that doesn't make sense because Westbrook's playing great. What is the Washington Wizards?
This is the Washington Wizards.
Like, I want to sit down with a Wizards fan. There's a few of them out there. I can find one, I guarantee you.
There are 3.
Yeah, there are 3. And just sit down, because they have further insight. I don't know what's going on in Washington.
You sound crazy, this whole argument. I just want to say that.
Washington...
No, what you're saying makes sense, But with the fervor and veracity of what you're saying the same things, all you've said is scoring champ. How are they this bad? They're playing good. I hate them. They're bad. I love them.
I love Washington.
No, that's all you've said. That's all you've said. You haven't said anything.
I think that's why I'm so off the rails right now. I like Washington as a team. I always have.
Fuck off the rails. You've thrown the rails away.
Because I was sitting in bed last night and had my AirPods in and I took them out. It's like, what the fuck are the Washington Wizards? What are they? Because no team...
They're a basketball team based out of Washington, D.C.
No team in this league has a scoring champion and another Hall of Fame player still on an all-star level and bottom barrel in the league.
What is their current standing?
I'm gonna say they are...
Didn't you go... You went
11th.
over it before, didn't you?
No, I didn't get to talk about Washington. You said you wanted to talk about Washington. I was like, all right, let's leave it to the end.
Oh, yeah.
So they are 13th, 15 and 25. Their win streak is 1. What are they?
I don't know.
I don't
know.
Look, Netflix.
Also,
hit me up. Here's an idea. Documentary, right? What are the Washington Wizards?
Don't look at me. Look at the camera. If you're speaking to Netflix.
What are the Washington Wizards? Starring Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook with a little bit of Isaac Bonga, even though he's not on the court right now. I just want to know, what is going on? Because analytics tell you...
my personal hell.
Analytics tell you this is a fantastic team. This is a fantastic team. On paper, fantastic team. But then reality hits, like a slap in the face. Nah, this isn't a team. This is fake. We don't generate wins, we generate losses. We're a lottery team, boys.
Sometimes, when we're on the pod, or when you text me, you're not having a conversation with me. You're just airing your thoughts. Yesterday, I think it was sometime this week, you texted me. And me and Ellie were watching something, and she's like, "Oh, who's texting you?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Josh." And I put the phone down, and she's like, "Aren't you going to reply?" And I'm like, "No, he's not talking to me. He's just airing his thoughts."
Yeah, I'm just...
And this is the same thing right now.
I'm not talking to you, I'm talking at you.
You're talking at me, and I look at the camera deadpan like it's playing The Office.
Yeah, The Office, yeah. That's what this pod feels like
before we end this, did you see the small post on Reddit someone made with the Jimmy Butler and RJ Barrett thing?
With them having a discussion?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that was really neat.
Yes.
For those who don't know, there was a post on Reddit someone made with video evidence referring back to a Heat Knicks matchup earlier in the year where Barrett tried to make a cut and get a catch towards the rim. Jimmy Butler got a strip and it went out of bounds and they go it again. And Jimmy Butler said, when they were matched up, he said, "Yeah, get some contact, bump into me before you go for the cut." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, he did that mid-game to just a young guy on the enemy team because he sees promise in him. Mm-hmm. I think that's really neat. And I saw that directly after seeing the Russell Westbrook
Rui Hachimura thing, same thing. Yeah, it's I love seeing that from these young guys.
These vocal vets happily teaching these young guys.
Absolutely. It's cool to see these vets come in. I tortured myself last night watching Kobe's final season. Don't ask me why I did it, but I did it. But it was cool to see Kobe end up being one of those guys like Jimmy Butler and Russell Westbrook where they would coach the younger guys and try and spread the knowledge as much they could. And it's cool to see these young guys take it on instantly. And it paid off.
With that
which is the perfect outcome of that.
Before we end it, do you want to say anything about the project you've been working on?
Oh yeah, so I'm doing a video. It's a personal project thing. It'll go up on the channel
eventually. There is no estimated time.
I anticipate maybe 2-3 weeks.
2-3 weeks from this going up.
Yeah, probably.
But don't hold him to that. Actually, send him hate mail if it's not up in 2 weeks' time.
So it's essentially going to be me doing my own research into certain players in history and how good were they. I'm going to start... Yeah, kind of. It'll be... I don't want to...
Not a grading, but here's how they've done.
I don't want to do what other people have done on YouTube. The person I've done is actually quite a popular pick. The first one I'll be doing is Paul Pierce. Mm-hmm.
Truth.
He's been a bit of a weird enigma throughout the past couple decades when people discuss Paul Pierce. And I've never been too into Paul Pierce, and I wanted to spend time to actually go through the very start of his NBA career to the very end and actually gauge for myself how great he actually was. Because people consider him an all-time great, and then people say he's overrated. And, you know, at the moment, that's a big discussion, especially with, you know, his hot takes post-NBA season being absolutely horrid. But I wanted to do that. It's probably, at the moment, I've upped it from when I last texted you, so it's around 6,000, I think.
Don't give
words.
too much info.
But it's something we haven't done before.
Yeah, it's a new personal project you're taking on. It'll be ideally 10-minute video.
I would say it should be around the 8-10 minute mark.
Yep.
It's going to put my writing and my editing skills to as good as I can put it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Essentially, because I've never done something like this before.
It'd be a neat little series to go up on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It'd be another bit of content for the YouTube channel if you wanted a shorter bit of content that wasn't a podcast from us.
And it can be a bit more intriguing as well. Sometimes it's fun to just watch a short video on a particular player before your time or didn't get to watch much of. And that's why I'm doing it, because now I actually get to learn about some former players. And Paul Pierce is probably one of the easier ones to do. Like I said, there's a lot of videos on YouTube already, but I didn't want to watch them. I wanted to do my own thing.
Yeah.
It's not going to be one of those things where it's, you know, on this day they scored this amount of points and compared to this. It's more going through overall what they've done year after year throughout a certain span of time and how do I compare these numbers and this outcome to whatever.
Absolutely. It's
going to be fun. I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. Yeah, I've put maybe 8 hours into it so far.
A lot to come.
Yeah, a lot to come. The editing is going to take a bit. So that's why 2-3 weeks, I would assume, maybe a bit more.
Yeah, probably 3. I'd say 3, maybe 6 months. Yeah, keep an eye out.
Look, if work gets busy, man, I don't know. Yeah, may never come out.
Exactly. If we go into another COVID lockdown, it'll be up in a week. If you've made it this far into the podcast, thank you very, very much. It is the favorite part of our weeks, every week. If you like the new setup with the desk, with the chairs, with the video, let us know. If you don't like it, let us know. Again, still asking for hate mail.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think I've been this excited for the pod due to two things. The setup, I adore it, love it, and I got to talk about the Washington Wizards. So I don't always get to.
Yeah, I wish you didn't. We'll cut that part out. If there's just a random cut, it's because there was a Washington Wizards talk.
Yeah.
If you've made it this far, thank you very, very much. If you want to listen to the audio version, we are on Google Pod, Apple Pod, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker. We are anywhere where good podcasts are found. We're also on YouTube, on Instagram and Facebook at the Lowbot Podcast.
We're everywhere.
We are everywhere. If you want a mug, let me know.
He'll give you his.
I'll give you a mug. Yeah. Not mine. This one is marked with a ceremonial T.
It's just water, ladies and gentlemen.
Water. We are just drinking. We are hydro homies.
Oh, hell yeah, we are.
Thank you very much, and tune in next week.